Morning, guys. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for coming back. Basically, I've just noticed, obviously, on my other videos that I've done them in portrait, so it's not the best way to watch them, I guess. So I'm trying it in landscape now. So hopefully this one comes out better. Just off to collect some eggs from the chickens through the morning feed. Here they all are, ready and waiting as always. And then I've got a job. I'm going to try and build a little hard stand for the pigs. It's only something basic that I do. I've done it with previous ones, but they don't last long. Basically just using a couple of pallets and some bits of ply and just sort of making a little hard stand, just so when it does get muddy, they can still get off the ground a bit. So yeah, there's the ladies. Right, let's get these fed. Right, we're actually getting close to the time where I'm going to be splitting these up. Oh, look at that Wogan having a go. Beat it. Din. Wait, look at him. Get out of it. Go on. Look at them all flared up. God, just trying to feed you, mate. That's not best behaviour. I don't have to sort of teach them out. Get out of it. Trying to do me. Right, let's get some feed. The best thing I'm going to do is I should probably set a tripod up or something, really. Make it a little bit easier on myself. Getting tripped over by all the girls. Right, hopefully they'll leave me alone. Can't believe Wogan done that. I knew he was getting bolshy. Over the last week or so, I've kind of noticed a bit of a change in his behaviour. Where he's almost been like squaring me up, like coming around, sort of trying to round me up and things like that. And that's the first time he's actually had a go at me. Luckily, it's only my wellies, but look, you come back for more. Don't know. Yeah, if anyone's got any tips there, I've never actually had a physical attack. Where did I put the egg box? That's over there. Yeah, so all the girls are doing well, luckily. They're all still here. But they're getting split up shortly, so I'm going to carry on pulling that tractor. I'm trying to do it bit by bit every day because it's quite heavy. So hopefully I'll get it over into position today. Then tomorrow I can collect. As the girls come out in the morning, I'll be there to grab them, put them into a box and take them over there. Come on, girls, out of the way. So let's get them some eggs. See how many we got. Five so far. It's weird because sometimes they kind of lay a lot in the morning and then not so much in the afternoon, and other times it's less in the morning and more in the afternoon. So hopefully I'll get some more today. Right, let's go over and see the piggies. Right, before we do the piggies, here were the horses, basically. And, this channel is not about going, this is the best practices. It's about showing you mistakes, warts and all, And we had a little bit of an incident yesterday with the horses. As you can see, obviously, we've got this hard standing setup. Basically, it was clay. We're on clay, basically. So all these areas just turned to soup, basically. So we were looking for a solution of how we could keep the horses part of the time with dry feet, so we've got somewhere to clean them off, etc. So this is where the water is. So we bought these mud control mats. They're really good. They've worked really well. There are no other solutions. We looked for, unless you're actually going to put a proper hard stand down, these mud control mats are the best. But I digress. Basically, what we did, we set up a little fence parameter around it. So we have a little gate up the end and a gate here. So we've got obviously two access points. And obviously, I was putting up cattle fencing, fencing to keep the sheep in round the fields. And I thought, right, I'll use some of that round, obviously, the horse pen. And because of the way the hard standing is set up, there's actually a bit of a gap or a bit of a moat round it, which the horses don't really go on. So they don't go near the fence. But something happened yesterday. We came up and basically what had happened, this lot was in the middle of the hard stand. As you can see, it's all sort of tangled up. So I think what happened, Indy either got close to it and got her jacket caught and then got a hoof in there and pulled it out, basically. She's got a couple of little scratches on her legs, which we treated yesterday. We gave them a good wash down and put this cream on. see if I can find it. I'll wander over there. My missus put this cream on. It's like an antiseptic cream, basically. She'll do the same again this morning, but they were... This is the stuff. What's it called? Fungatrol cream. That, and we also have like blue spray and purple spray and things like that, which are antiseptic sprays. But yeah, the lesson there is, I guess, because my missus said this fencing isn't adequate for horses, because for that exact reason that they can get their hooves caught in it and pull it down. So yeah, I'm looking for other suggestions, but I think probably fencing with a smaller gap is probably the way to go. So I'll look at doing that. At the moment, we've just got electric fence rope down there, which, you know, is doing the trick, but it looks naff. So we'll change that. But yeah, just a lesson there. You know, sometimes you think, oh well, that'll work, and it's not always the case. You know, I mean, sometimes you have to. I mean, the ideal situation would be post and rail it, which, you know, I might have a chat with the boss man some point in the summer and see if we can do that instead, make it a bit more of a permanent structure rather than a make do job, I guess. All right, piggy feeding time. They're all still in their bed. Proper lazy, these girls. The boys I've had in the past, they've been a bit more eager every morning. You know, they kind of fell into the pattern of being fed to come bundling over. But let's go see if we can get it. They'll probably all spaz out if I go in there, but let's have a look, shall we? All snoozing. Oh, there they go. You all girls? You coming out for a bit of brekkie? I've got that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, a little one tucked away at the back there. So if I wake you up. Right, let's get them some food. Alright, so food wise at the moment, this is you get 2 types of pig feed, sow nuts and sow rolls. These are sow nuts, which are basically a smaller feed. The sow rolls are kind of, you know, a bit of a bigger chunk, which they can still eat, but I think the smaller ones are better for them because they're small. But what I normally do, sometimes I'll start fermenting this food, so I'll soak it the night before, let the water obviously soak into it, and then feed it that way. Right, I'm going to get this spread out and see if we can get them out. Well, seems like they've gone back to bed. Not hungry yet. So may not get them video them feeding just yet, but it's all out there ready when they want their brunch. I'm sure they'll get more sort of honed in on times over the next week or so, I'd have thought. So, right. So that's the chickens and the pigs done. Next job, like I said, is to build this little hard stand in, which I've got out of scrap wood I've got left over. So this is my scrap pile of wood at the moment. And what the plan is I'm going to use these bigger bits of ply and some of the pallets. I'm going to break them down and just make like a little sandwich basically. So you got a bit of ply at the top, a bit of ply on the bottom with a sandwich of pallets in between. And then like I said, you can kind of pull it about, but because it gets so muddy, they don't last really. They're not built to last. They're just wood that I've got left laying around that I can put to use rather than throwing it away. But I'll show you the ones down the bottom, you know, and what they end up looking like, and you know why they don't last. We had when it was cold in here, we actually brought the Ranger down there, put a strop round this thing to try and pull it out, and ended up breaking the rope. So, you know, they're proper wedged in there, but because the ground's so soft at the moment, you can probably hear it squelching under my feet. I'm just restricted to what sort of vehicles I can have in the field. Like, I wouldn't even bring a push bike in here, to be honest. I don't think you'd make it round, let alone, you know, tractors and gators and defenders. You know what I mean? It's just not at that time yet. We're kind of sick of all this rain now. You know, it really does affect us more on the clay. I'd rather it come a bit more rain during the summer, maybe a little bit, just to make sure we get a good crop of hay this year. But right, so yeah, these are the pallets. So as you can see, it's not much to look at, but it does serve a purpose. You know what I mean? I can put their food troughs on there, you can put their waters on there, so it just gives them a little bit of a dry bit, a bit of sanctuary or salvation, maybe one of the two. So yeah, that's what they end up looking like. What I'll do is when I get the tractor down here, I'll pull them up to the end of the water meadow where the bonfire is, and I'd burn them on there. And then the other job as well, I've got to get done these sheep homes or huts, the Salway ones. They're the same as ones we use for the pigs, but a bit smaller. And these ones don't have the bottom floor on them. Don't know why we've done that. I think sheep need warmth less than what the pigs do, you know what I mean, because they're covered in wool. So we put a hard bottom on the pigs ones, but left them ones just bare. To be honest with you, they don't really use them, the sheep. They go up to the horse shelter and stay up there. The last ones that they did anyway. So yeah, but they will have them anyway, just in case they do want them. But they're going to go over in this corner as well. So when this patch here where the pigs was, that's just, we've just been putting horse poo on that, hay, straw, everything, just letting it mulch down. Because when the ground does harden up a bit, I can come down here and just harrow the life out of it, reseed it, and it'll just come back amazing, you know what I mean, really nice. Oh, I'll tell you, it was something the other day we learned when we went to that pig place to pick up the pigs. She uses like a turnip mix seed. So like she chucks down the seeds and stuff, but it actually plants turnips and stuff. So when you put the pigs back on it, they've then got, you know, better foraging, which I thought that was a good idea, but do I really want a field full of turnips growing up everywhere? I don't know. But we'll chat to the boss and see what he thinks. Right, yeah, so right, time to get cracking with the hard stand, and I'll set up the little tripod thing and see if do a little time lapse on what I'm doing. Right, so there it is, the finished product. Basically just a pallet with a bit of plywood on top, basically. Like I say, it's not much, but it does give them a little bit of a respite from the mud, you know, when it gets super muddy. Not that that bothers them, but I just think it's nice to give them a little bit extra. Oh look, the horses are out. I wonder if the missus knows. Pigs are still a little bit shy. They're all kind of a little bit wary of me still, unless I've got food. Come in when I've got that. They come over straight away now, so you can get a little stroke in with them then. But I wonder if they'll come on over. Might as well tell you a little bit about why we go for this breed as well, the Oxford Sandy and Blacks. Basically, you can get different types of pigs, and sort of the old traditional breeds like these aren't sort of what they class as a, you know, a good high production pig. You know, although they're, you know, same as other pigs, they're not like the big middle whites and stuff that they use in a commercial sense. So these kind of sort of older breeds tend to sort of die out. So these, the Gloucester Old Spots, Saddlebacks, Tamworth, things like that, they tend to sort of be on the rare breeds list. So it's nice to have something a bit different. And although you might not get as much meat content from them, you're certainly getting a better quality tasting meat, I think, you know. The Saddlebacks we had before these, I think, I stand by, was probably the best bacon I've ever had in my life. These have been great for sausages. The pork joints off of these are lovely as well. So that's kind of why we go for more traditional breeds. I mean, the long-term thing for me, I'd like some coon pigs for more for a sort of grazing and pet purposes, and then I'd probably dip back to Saddlebacks, or maybe have a go at Gloucestershire Old Spots, just to mix it up a bit. But Saddlebacks I was really keen on. I don't know why, but that's just kind of, you know, they're black with the white stripe around the middle. Really nice looking pig. So yeah, I think that's probably the way we'd go with them. So this will give you a bit of an idea about how much destruction pigs can make in a short amount of time. This is the fresh, clean pig pen waiting. The other one that I'm about to show you was exactly like that about 3 days ago. It's now like this. So that's 4 tiny little pigs, you know, and that's not even making a dent in it yet. You give it another week and there'll just be a mud pit in there compared to that. So when I divide them up, the 2 probably smaller girls will go into this pen and the 2 bigger ones will stay in here, so they'll get a bit of a fresh start again. Yeah, so that's the pigs at the moment really. There's not much else to do with them today. I'll leave them to it.